What is going on, guys? Healy here, and today I'm going to be predicting who I think is going to win the National League MVP. The candidates for the National League MVP, the finalists that got revealed on MLB Network, were Christian Yelich, Javier Baez, and Nolan Arenado. A great three to represent the National League as finalists for the MVP. The only one that I might change out would be Nolan Arenado for Jacob deGrom. But either way, Nolan Arenado and deGrom are both great. And it doesn't matter between those two. I'm just going to say that right now. Doesn't matter about Nolan Arenado or deGrom. Neither of them are going to win the MVP. But let's go over the basic stats to begin with. So Nolan Arenado played in 156 games, had a 297 average, 38 home runs, which led the National League, 110 RBIs. He had a 374 on base percentage, 561 slugging. He was an all-star and he won a Gold Glove. Voting is done the last day of the regular season, so the Gold Glove doesn't necessarily matter for the voting. Arenado had a 5.6 WAR. His defensive WAR was down a little bit this year at 0.7. I don't really like WAR, but for voting purposes and the writer purposes, we will talk about that. Javier Baez played in 160 games. He had a 290 average, 176 hits, 34 homers, led the National League with 111 RBIs. He didn't walk much, so his on-base percentage was 326, and he had a slugging of 554, which is just behind Nolan Arenado. 881 on-base plus slugging. He had a 6.3 WAR, 5.3 offensive, 1.7 defensive. So technically he was a better defensive player than Nolan Arenado. But we all know Arenado is a monster on defense. Christian Yelich, amazing. What can you say? He played in 147 games. He led the National League with a 326 average, 36 homers, 187 hits, 110 RBIs, and a 402 on base. Led the National League with a 598 slugging and had an OPS of 1,000. All three of these guys were all-stars this year. Christian Yelich had a 7.6 WAR, which was better than by over 1 compared to the other two finalists, almost 2 compared to Arenado. It is 7.3 offensive, negative 0.4 defensive. Going back to why I already excluded Nolan Arenado from this MVP race. Unfortunately, he plays in Coors. It makes you a better hitter. That's what Coors does, unfortunately. And there's nothing Nolan can do about it. But if you focus on his splits, he had a 347 average at home and a 248 average on the road with a 424 on base compared to 325, and his slugging was 240 points different. His home and away splits were completely different numbers. Now you could say home and away splits, they're supposed to do a little bit better at home compared to the road, but a lot of these guys, their splits aren't as far apart as guys that don't play really in Colorado. Christian Yelich, he had a 324 at home, 328 on the road. Javier Baez actually played better on the road with a 310 average compared to a 270 at home. He had more homers on the road. But yeah, Nolan Arenado's splits were just so much worse on the road. And unfortunately, I take that in consideration and he's thrown to the side. If you asked me who I thought the MVP was of the National League September 1st, it could have gone either way between Javier Baez and Christian Yelich. I probably would have went with Javier Baez. Javier Baez he had an amazing year. But unfortunately, Christian Yelich is no doubt the MVP for 2018. That's just what has to happen. He was lights out and just better than everyone in the National League. And what really helped him was his September month. He played in 27 games in September. He had a 370 average, 508 on base, 804 slugging with 10 home runs, 34 RBIs. Absolutely insane month. Also, his first half compared to his second half, unbelievable. First half, he had a 292 average. He made the All-Star team, 11 home runs. But the second half, he had a 367 average, 770 slug, 25 home runs. Absolutely insane with 60 less at-bats. As a Cubs fan, watching him in September was terrible. You could not get him out at all, and his eye was impeccable. He would not go after anything out of the zone. People would pitch around him, and he would get on base, and then his team would just drive him in. The Brewers won a lot of games thanks to Christian Yelich. But yeah, it is just... It should not even be a choice that Christian Yelich is the MVP of the National League. I would like to know what you guys think of the National League, if it could be any different, and your opinions on that, or maybe even the order. Because I said Yelich number 1, Baez 2, Arenado will finish 3rd. Let me know what your order is down below. And there should be more in-depth videos coming up from other awards, but starting off with the National League MVP, there's no choice. Christian Yelich, congratulations on your MVP, and he'll be exciting to watch in years to come. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe down below. This is Healy, and I'm out. Peace.